name's Melissa Swartz. I am a franchise owner with Homevestors here in Columbus, and we are here today for the second in a series of franchise spotlights with Jeff Holtz, who was the founding franchise owner here in Columbus and also is our development agent for the rest of us who are franchises. So we will learn a little bit today here from Jeff about how he runs his business and how he helps support us. So Jeff, if you could just start by telling us a little bit about yourself, what you do, where you're from, that type of thing.
Sure. Yeah. Thanks for having me on. It's nice to have these little things as we don't have our Deal Maker Sessions event right now. I know a lot of people do know the name, maybe not the face, certainly not the face with the beard that I have. Normally don't have that. But yeah, background for me is military, active military. I don't know that a lot of people know that, but I joined Homevestors after seeing their billboards when I was working in Washington, D.C. And I was at a point where I was just sick of the corporate world and trying to get out of the military side. And I called up Billboard and reached Homevestors, talked to them about it. It was expensive. It's a franchise. I didn't really want to buy a franchise, but after trying to figure out a mailing campaign and whatever the heck else you have to do to market, I decided that it didn't make sense for me to do it on my own and just piggyback off of what Homevestors is doing. I actually started in Cleveland. 2000 and end of 2012, 2013, started in Cleveland and was in Cleveland for a couple years. For personal reasons, I had moved my franchise location to Chicago. I was there for a couple years. And then in 2017, I came here to Columbus. And that was for personal reasons as well. My family's all in. My wife and my family were both from Cleveland, and we didn't want to move back there. So we thought Columbus was a good idea. It's been a great run here in Columbus. You know, building rental portfolio, there's not a better place than Columbus for that, I think. I do have rentals in Cleveland and some parts of Illinois as well. And then at some point, the development agent is a support network for Homevestors. You can call it a coach or a mentor. I don't really like the coach word, but we Homevestors decided that they needed a lot of local support, franchisees that are actually doing this alongside of other franchisees to help support the network. And I became a development agent in 2017 when I moved here. And I support all the franchisees throughout Ohio, buying, selling, any questions they have, you know, all the technology that we have for Homevestors. If there's any questions there, a lot of the franchisees we have coming in don't have a background in real estate, kind of like I did. So we've got an educational system and, you know, all the systems you can imagine in place to figure out how to buy and sell houses. So that's what I do. That's the background.
Very cool. I know I appreciate the DEA support a lot,
Yeah, no problem.
especially when getting started. Reached out to Jeff all the time,
Mm-hmm.
and still remind myself to always call him because he's going
Yeah.
to help me. So.
Well, it's just good, I think, to have somebody there. A lot of the times I know a lot of people out there probably are doing this on their own, and that's great because you don't have to be a part of a franchise network to do this. But, you know, there's got to be a support system. We try to put it in place with Facebook and some of these other networking events just to have people as an outlet to talk about deals. But day in, you've got to have somebody to go to as a mentor, as somebody that you can just, you know, express your issues to. And sometimes the deals don't, you know, you got to figure out how to monetize these things. They're not clear cut. How to talk to the seller, what's the strategy behind what you're trying to do, what do you do with the house once you have it under contract. It's not as easy as you have this amazing Dublin house and you get it at 50% of value, so it like just makes a hell of a lot of sense. I would say the majority of the time we've got to figure out how to make sense of these things. So I think it's nice to have somebody to talk to. Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. So you alluded to, like, you know, when you first joined in, it wasn't cheap, right? A little bit of sticker shock, like
Still isn't. No.
So talk to us a little bit about that and sort of like, why not just do it on your own without this franchise support?
Yeah, no, that's a good question. I think you can. You absolutely can. It's just a matter of, is it something, do you want to recreate the wheel or do you want to be a part of something that's kind of already in motion? I've never said it that way, but that sounds really good. It's like a slogan, I guess. But that's what made sense to me. I was on Bigger Pockets for a while. I talked to Homevestors. I got all the franchise information and the costs and everything.
Right.
Coming from the military, did not have a lot of money in my back pocket. So I had a small amount that I was working with, and I was like, well, maybe I can do it cheaper. Maybe I can do it on my own. Spent a lot of time, probably 6 months on Bigger Pockets, just perusing around like I think a lot of people do, trying to figure out mailer campaigns and all those things. And you know, back then there weren't stacking lists and cold calling and all these other things that people do. I think it was it was direct mail pretty much is what
Right.
I was doing when I started, or it was what happens, I think, or what was going on back then. So I think it's complicated. It seems complex. The other side of that is I didn't know the success rate. I figured I could do it. I figured I could figure it out over time, but I didn't know if that was going to be like, a year or 6 months or 5 years. And it's nice to see data in home investors from not only locally, but then nationwide, as far as, we know if we're doing well relative to the group or not. If, we've got, what do we have here? 11 franchises, 12
Right.
locations here.
Yep.
And at any given point, we can tell whether our numbers are at the top part of that, or maybe we're kind of floundering a little bit here and there. And as we know, it's a lumpy business. We say that word a lot. So, if you're at the bottom too long, you're clearly doing something wrong. There's other people that are doing it at a higher level, then you got to figure out what they're doing. So I think a lot of it had to do a lot with the numbers. I think I could have figured it out, but then it's the efficiency and how quick. I knew I wanted to grow this quickly. I just didn't know how fast that was going to happen on my own. So.
Right. And how long have you been with Home Investors then, amidst the multiple locations?
Yeah, 7 years, 8 years total now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. And then in Columbus for about what, 2 or 3?
3 now. I've been here 3 years almost exactly. Yeah, we got about, and in that 3 years, hundreds of houses I bought already here in 3 years. I've got 20 some properties right here in Columbus. Like I said, some more in Cleveland and Illinois, but I'm starting to move away from those markets. Some of the stuff in Cleveland I still keep because it's in just better areas, decent areas. Illinois' taxes went crazy, so I'm starting to move out of that. And Columbus is still a good market as far as the value you get for the rentals that you can keep. I know, Melissa, you have some too.
Yeah, certainly that's our focus as well.
Mhm.
And, we lean on other folks that are doing it to learn kind of the best practices. So what would you say is like do you have a primary exit strategy when you're looking at a house, or do you kind of mix and do lots of different things, or?
Yeah, I do. I think looking at all the franchises, my main focus is trying to put it in a rental portfolio. That's
Okay.
always the model. I mean, I have 2 last week I'm buying that I'll put in rental portfolio, but then you have to make money at some point. So it's always a balance of what I have coming in to what do I need to, all those things, the cash flow side of the business. Sometimes you just have to make money. You can't keep everything. It just doesn't work that way. And it seems like with the model, everybody knows the Burr method. I think I was doing that before I knew it was a thing. But then it's the Burr method. So that's what everybody does. You buy them with some money, whatever the money is available. Home Investors has that for us, so they make it pretty easy. And then at some point you refinance it. And really what I try to do is I take a couple here and there at a time. Used to be 1 at a time. Now it's probably 2 or 3, and I can get up to 4 or 5 at a time. And then once I get those through that stage, then I'll look at buying more properties, kind of letting things sit. They are costly in the beginning, so you kind of want to make sure that there's no significant issues that come up. Once you get them tenanted, that's refinance out, and then they're just kind of in the portfolio. But I do all the other exit strategies. I don't do a lot of full rehabs. I probably do 1 or 2 a year, maybe a couple more depending. A lot of what I would say is we call wholesale, which is not the traditional wholesale model, but just quick cleanups and putting them on market. We'll close on them. List them as is, make a clean product. Sometimes that's cleaning the mold up, and sometimes that's painting, and sometimes it's not doing anything. So it just depends on that. And then every now and then I assign something, myriad different reasons why I do that. But every now and then there's an assignment, but it's probably like, I don't know, maybe 5% of what I do, maybe not even that much. And I think that's pretty consistent with everybody else, the other franchises in Columbus, at least. Mm-hmm.
Gotcha. And I know you've really helped here locally to build the off-market Facebook group, which is now deal makers kind of intertwined. So what was your thought process behind sort of building that up and giving folks an opportunity here locally to share their properties that are available?
Yeah, I think, I came into a market in Cleveland. I was the first one there. And I came into the market here in Columbus, and I was the first one there. And it's lonely when you're the first person.
Right.
I'm a team mentality guy going back to the military, and I know that we can all do better if we use the support of each other. We can only do better as our weakest link, right? So as good as our weakest link. So it just seemed to make sense to be a team environment and share this thing, put this thing together. It happened kind of haphazardly. I started the group and then I went away from it. And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, it started gaining traction.
Right.
And then I thought, we do a Deal Maker Sessions event. We started them in Cleveland about 2 years ago. We started the one in Columbus a year ago. It's been a great networking and deals event. And I just figured the Facebook group was a great way to promote it, get information out there. And I didn't see another group in Columbus that was very real estate investor heavy. So it seemed like it just made sense. I mean, there was a model there or that was kind of formulating itself, that I wasn't doing any advertising or anything for, and then started building it. Yeah, we're almost up to 4,000 members on that. And there's a lot of value on that. I appreciate all the people that put stuff on there. You know, we can have a team mentality within home investors for sure. I mean, that's a small group of people.
Right.
And you know, the investors throughout Columbus, as long as, I mean, we can all support each other. We don't have to have this mindset that it's like cutthroat out there. We can all work together. So that's kind of where that came from.
Yeah, no, I think we all appreciate it. And it's a nice opportunity to both see kind of what's out there and what's going on. And then if you have an assignment for sale, to be able to promote that. So
Yeah.
you,
Yeah.
yeah, you mentioned a little bit earlier that Home Investors provides funding sort of casually. And I know that that's actually a huge benefit to both my franchise, yours, and the rest of us here locally. So can you talk a little bit about that and how that might be different from like you're doing this on your own and you're searching for the funds, right?
Yeah, great question. That's like, why would you buy in a home investors type question more than about me? But here's a really good example. When I came in, the funding was a big one. You know, outside of all the marketing stuff I didn't want to or deal with, the next thing was funding. There was nobody that was funding when I came in except home investors. You couldn't get money for anything unless it was just an exceptionally killer deal. Private funds, which I didn't really know how to tap into back then, were what we discussed within home investors outside of home investors lending. And that's been, home investors lending has been in here, been through, you know, it's since 2000 and what did they start lending? Before 2008, they've been lending and they still do today. The nice thing is we're such a big company right now. It's not just home investors as a company that lends. They've got a portal with 7 other companies, I think 7 other companies right now, and they're constantly shifting. We even saw some drop off as recent as last month when all the COVID virus stuff happened, but then right in place is a couple other companies that want to work with franchisees across the country. So as far as, fix and flip and even rental hold lending, it seems like it's constantly churning through. On the home investor side, I know they're always going to be there because they were there when I came in. So
Right.
huge benefit.
It really is, but definitely. So in sort of wrapping it up, so like if someone wanted to reach out to you, chat about real estate, what's going on in general, how would folks get in touch with you, Jeff?
Yeah, I'm always on that Facebook group, you know it, so you can reach out to me there, or my email address is jeff.hotz, HOTZ, @homevestors.com, and phone number 614-602-2262. Leave a message because I usually screen that one out. But yeah, there's a bunch of different ways to get a hold of me. I'm always around. If you need me, I'm here. Happy to chat and talk about real estate. If you got deals, we're all looking for deals here and there. We still do buy from wholesalers, even though we get what we're leads and stuff from home investors. We can always buy others. So
Awesome.
yeah, I appreciate it, Melissa.
Yeah, and Jeff is a great resource to us, and definitely reach out if you can catch him. I think it's a great opportunity to learn something, and I think the mentality of us all working together and learning from each other is a pretty nice one to share and spread. So
It is.
yeah. All right. Well, we will talk to you soon, and take care, everybody.
Thank you. Thanks a lot, Melissa.
Bye.